Hi, I'm Rachel. I am a product designer currently in the tech industry, and I've known Katie for about 2 years now, and just kind of wanted to share our journey with design and art and how we can use that in different industries, not just like one type of industry, and how it impacts us like socially and how to use creativity for good instead of just pretty things. I like
Exactly.
to be pretty too. Um,
Ideally, it's both, right?
yes. I think like my favorite thing is functional art, where like, for example, I mean, maybe I could talk about like over quarantine, I was really frustrated with the fact that I was only painting for like walls. Um, but then I was like, why not use art and painting for something that is useful too? So that's where I think my coasters came from, is like, oh, it can like actually do something while making a place look nice. So
That
I think,
was one of my favorite things. I mean, you've done so many incredible things that I've followed over the years. But the coaster thing, I was like, wow, this is like a really incredible melding of art, but also product design. So, what was kind of well, I guess we should take a step back. Tell us a little bit about your journey as an artist and everything you've been doing over the past few years and kind of where you are now and the things you're thinking about.
oh yeah, of course. Well, I knew I was a creative person since I was like a really young kid. My mom is creative, so I think she kind of nurtured me to be a creative person. Like she would let me draw on the walls, and that was fine. It wasn't like something that was bad. So I think that's where my real journey as being a creative person started. And then in high school, middle school, I was always like the art kid. Like I love filmmaking, but I love technology, but I love drawing. So, and I think like growing up, people kind of put you in a bubble, like, oh, you can only be a drawing person, or you can only be a tech person. So I was really confused all of middle school and high school, like, because I'm like, I like all of them.
Right.
And then, and no one tells you that you can merge all these things until you get to a point where you're like, oh, okay, that stuff exists. And then when it came to applying for colleges, I wanted to make movies. So USC was just the route that I wanted to go. And then I found this major within the film school where you can like merge technology and design and filmmaking all together. So I was like, sign me up. Um, so it was like, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just knew I liked all of them. And it was really hard to like explain to your parents what you're doing because like it's such a weird thing to say. Like you're combining things because technology is a very new subject,
Right.
and so design, like, and making money with design, like people are like, how do you do that? So it was super like I didn't know what I wanted to be, but I just knew I liked these things. So I think that's where I started, and then just interning around in industries, like learning about different jobs and what they do on a day-to-day process, seeing if I like that or not. So I think like the foundationally, I love drawing and color, but then there's tiers above where I love technology and how does drawing and like just the foundational art mix with technology, and then that becomes like tech design. And there's like, it's like, 1 + 1 = 2. So it's very, yeah, you can merge a bunch of things together. And so to answer your question about the coasters, I think same thing. I love painting and love colors, but I love functional art. And when COVID hit, I took this class. It was like color concepts for animation, like visual development, where you have to draw very complicated background pieces. And like the color was so intricate. The design of the whole background environment was very intricate. So I was spending like hours to create like a very detailed painting. And then that's when COVID hit, and I was like, okay, the world is so complicated right now
Right.
and it's super dark. So like what is the direct opposite of that is simple and bright. So because everything was complicated and dark. So I was like, I think it came out of frustration. So I just wanted like to draw and paint simple shapes, like squares, like nothing detailed, no texture, no shading, just shapes. And then just bright colors. And then I translated that onto a coaster. And then yeah, I gave them out to friends, and it like brightened up their day exactly what I wanted. So yeah, I think that's where it started from. And then yeah, and then I was like, should I just start this as a business? And I tried, but my visa stuff and like payment stuff got in the way. So I was like, you know what? I'll just use this as like a way to love on people during this time. So yeah, I think that's where it originated from.
And I think that's, I mean, I could go in a million directions off of everything you just said. I totally relate. I come from a background of like a million different subjects. I studied science and art and design and all these things.
Mhm.
And I think what's really interesting though is kind of the last thing you said about like loving on people through art and design. We were talking a bit before this about how to use design in more like less purely artistic ways and more kind of like applied or technological ways to really like either solve problems in society or just like generally brighten up people's days. Like the best part about art and design or being an artist is that you can literally make something, a real thing that can bring some kind of joy and happiness to someone else's life.
Right.
So do you want to talk a bit about kind of like where you are now in your journey as that relates to technology and design and what you're interested in?
Yeah, of course. I think you put it so well where I think the best designers and artists are people who are genuinely just curious about life. And that's why design and art is so useful in all industries. It's not just like advertising or film. There's design in like healthcare, in, in universities, in like wildly different industries. Like it's everywhere. And so people who really ask the questions of how to help and how to make things better, it's all in the process of design and functional art and really smart design, I think. And that differentiates like I guess it is user experience, how people go through that certain experience that they're going through. For example, yeah, I think that's why I kind of took a pivot in my career because I was like, wow, I really want to help like a massive amount of more people using design. And so, I mean, currently I'm like a UI UX like product designer for a startup where I mean, I can't really share too much, but it has to do with NDA, but it has to do with artificial intelligence and yeah, video formatted app. I don't know how much I can explain, but
That's perfect. Even just saying like, you know, because I know you come from an animation, like one of your first like big gigs was like doing animation, and I guess it's kind of interesting to me. How did you jump from animation to this more like design oriented, technology oriented position? Because there's similarities, but there's definitely differences, like different ends of the spectrum.
right. I think, well, for animation, I was doing more like management in the background, and then hopefully going like providing my portfolio to go into the more like hands like drawing route. But and then I took a job as a designer and like a graphic designer just to kind of do the same principles. So I think all the foundations are the same. It's about like what the end product is. And that's what I like. I think the process is always the same where you design, you draw, and then you pitch, and then you get feedback. Like everywhere you go, it's going to be like that where you get critiqued and then you go back to the drawing board and you go back and forth. But what is your end goal? And I think as much as I love animation and making movies, and I think like I grew up with movies like childhood films that really shaped my whole future or my whole childhood. And I still look back on it and I have very fond memories. I think I did want to create something where the end goal was bigger and like just kind of more accessible. And I don't know, I think I just wanted to try something a lot more, yeah, technology based instead of like on screen. We'll see if I go backwards, but yeah, I
And you
think
can
that's
kind of, and you can do anything, like you can do everything, and you were also like so young and so new in your career. I am too, that I hope like we both get to do just like incredible crazy things throughout our lives. So I think
yeah.
that's a really good place to end off on this. Thank you for having this conversation with me, and I'm so excited that I got to learn more about what you're up to.
Yes, thank you for having me. Like this was such a fun conversation. I think and as designers, we always need to like kind of always talk about what we're up to and what we're learning. So this is a great opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you.